Hello GRD212, this is Professor Neidig, and this tutorial is going to cover an introduction of Photoshop. So last week you were asked to download and install the software on your machine, and from the emails I've gotten, the majority of you have done that. So I want you to go ahead and open up the program. You can do that by going to your Start menu on your Windows desk and pulling up all programs and then selecting Adobe Photoshop. Or on the Mac, I believe it's in your Applications folder. You can go into your Mac hard drive and then your Applications folder and then pull up Adobe Photoshop. And once you open the program, it looks like this. Okay. So the first thing we need to focus on is this top menu, File, Edit, Image, Layer. And let's go to File and let's select New. This is going to open up a window that's going to ask us, well, what type of document do you want to create? So it's important to name your document. So I'll, put test. You have some preset options such as US paper. What might be helpful to us is web. So let's select web, and it's going to give us a 640 by 480. So that's the size we're looking at. So 640 pixels is the width, and the height is 480 pixels. Okay. And by default, the default options are good for us, so let's just leave them alone. And the background color, we have options. We might use transparent in the future, but let's just stick with white for now. So I'm going to click OK. And we can see a new document is created for us. It's just really like a white sheet for us to work with. Okay, so let's look at the interface of Photoshop for now. We have our document, the white space in front of us. On the left hand side we have our tool panel. Okay, these are the tools we're going to use to create shapes and text and edit. Okay, at the top it's important is our menu. We have options here. And on the right hand side we have palettes. We have a couple of options. But I want to emphasize this layers palette. That's going to be the most important right to start off. If you don't see a layers option on this right hand side, go to your window menu up here, click on that, and if you go towards the bottom, maybe a little below midway, you have layers. So see, right now mine is checked, so it's there. If I take it away, we can see it's disappeared over there, and if I go back, we can see our layers. Okay, so that's first things first. Also make sure you have the character option available as well. Okay, again, if you don't see it, you go back to your window and select character. So that's how you get your palettes over here to appear. Okay, so that's basic for now. So I want to also show you how to get started creating shapes. So by default, we want to first start looking at our layers. Okay, our background layer has this lock to it, so we can just go down here a little bit. Let me raise this up. If we look at the bottom of our layers, we have options, right? So this one right here is actually create a new layer. Okay, if you hover over them, it'll pop up, a little dialog box will pop up and tell you what it is. You're not seeing mine, it's just below where I'm recording for the screen. But hover your mouse down here and the options will appear for you. Okay, down here you have the trash can, which will delete your layers as well. Okay, also to copy layers, what you can do is click this layer and drag it down to the new layer icon, and that'll give us a copy of our background layer, but you'll see this one won't be locked. Okay, so we can go ahead and select this background layer that's locked. It won't allow us to use it. And let's click the trash can. And let's delete our layer 1 here as well. I just wanted to show you how to delete a layer. Okay, you can also click. Okay, so now we have our background copy with just our white canvas. So let's take a look at this tool panel over here on the left. So our tool panel here has a bunch of different options, and if you want to know what each tool does, you can hover your mouse over them. Now in the first week you should have read over the interface And so you should have an idea what some of these tools do, but let's start with some of the basic tools. So down at the bottom we have a rounded rectangle tool. And we can see there's an arrow pointing down and to the right. That's letting us know there are more tools inside of that tool. So if I left click and hold on it, holding down my left click, I can see a new menu appears with some other tools to use. Okay? But for right now, I just want to use my rectangle tool. So once I've selected my rectangle tool, you can see when I move my mouse onto the white area, it now turns to a plus sign. And that's telling me it's ready to draw. The cursor is ready to draw. But I want you to look at some options right here. Up at the top, I have my color, which is currently red. If I click on that, a new window appears and will allow me to select any color I want. So I actually like blue. So I'm going to go blue here and click OK. This style with the line through it, that'll give you some more style options, but we don't need that right now. So let's just stick with our color blue. I have my plus sign, so I'm just going to click, hold down the mouse as I drag, and we can see the square start to form. And once I let that go, a square appears. Okay, so I have my square here. I also want to show you that the color at the top also represents this color down here on our tool palette. So you see the blue in the front, that's the foreground color. The white in the back is the background color. Okay, so it's important when you're working with colors, you can do it either up here or down on your tool palette. Okay. You also have an option if you come up here and select this move tool to click on your square and move it. Move it anywhere you want. Okay, so I want my square there, but I want to add another shape. So I need to go back to my layers, select the add a new layer option. Okay, I'm going to go back to where my square was, my rectangle tool. Left click on it, hold it down, and this time I'm going to select the polygon tool. And I want a different color. So this one will be green. Okay, and I come back to my stage and I draw. Okay, so I want my green just down here, polygon tool, and I can move it that way. Okay, so that's how you create shapes in Photoshop. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay. Another option you have on your toolbar is this T, and it's actually a text tool. And we can see we have some options here. So if I select the text tool, if I left click and drag, this will give me an area to type in text. So I can type in hello. And now if we look over to the right, we have some options to choose from. So if I want to change the color to yellow, need to highlight it first actually, and then click, let's go like a turquoise green. Okay, you can do that, and just like Microsoft Word, you have options to change the font size. Okay, made it a little smaller, make it a little bigger. Okay, and then change the font itself. So you have some options in that character menu. That's why it's important to use that. So this first week, let's try to add a layer, create a shape, and type some text and see how it goes. So once you're all set with your image, the way, if you have it, obviously I want you to spend more time on your images than I'm doing now. So put a bunch of different objects on there, change the color around. Please, try your best. And when you're ready, you always want to make sure you file and then save as. Okay, so I'm just going to save mine on my desktop. By default, a Photoshop file is a .psd. It's a Photoshop file. So I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay, and you also want, what I want you to upload into class is, we can save it as a JPEG. We can save this as a picture. So to do that is, I want you to go to File, Save As, and where it says Format for the PSD, drop that menu down and you have some options. and select JPEG. Okay, and then you can just save that. You can put quality 12. You usually want around 10 or 12 for your quality, give you the best quality, and click OK. And you will have a JPEG saved to your machine. So I would like you to upload your JPEG to our discussion board for next week so we can see the shapes that everyone made. Okay, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.